Hey, what's going on, guys? Jeremy here. So trying a little something different this time. And instead of doing a vlog like I've normally been doing, I'm gonna do essentially story time. So I might do one of these every couple of weeks, or maybe every week. I'm not sure. I haven't really decided yet. But essentially, what this is gonna be is me telling a story that's happened to me, something incredibly ridiculous. And to start it off, we're gonna do the most ridiculous one that I've got, which is Jeremy shits himself in Scotland. Uh, Now it sounds a little ridiculous, but all right. So, set up this story. So I was over visiting my girlfriend in Scotland over Christmas this past year, and had a wonderful time, by the way. It's a great time. Scotland's a beautiful country. If you've never been, you need to go. But, so since she couldn't get days off work, I would come in to work with her and like hang out with her and her coworkers and stuff and just hang out and all that jazz. And one day during the end of my stay, like it was actually New Year's Eve. So that day we're sitting there and at her work, and she, being a woman, sometimes bleeds from her vagina, and she didn't have the forethought to actually bring some tampons with her back from her apartment. So she asked me to make the hour-and-a-half long public transport journey back to her apartment. And me being nice, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so I get on the bus and I get on the tube. And I'm sitting on the tube, and I'm sitting there just like, ooh, this ain't no good. I gotta go, And for those of you who have never been to Scotland, there's not really a whole lot of public bathrooms anywhere. It's not like it is here in the States, where like every little restaurant like Burger King and crap like that have a restroom. And so I get off the tube and I'm sitting there. It's kind of gurgling. I think I can make it. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm walking toward her apartment, and I sit there and I throw my hands in my jacket pocket, and I sit there like, oh no, I don't have her keys to her apartment. And so that's when the panic begins. So I'm sitting there and I'm panicking, just trying to find somewhere that I can use the bathroom. I'm looking everywhere, and I can't find anywhere. Like, I see a Subway, I'm like, oh, this will work, So I go to the Subway, no bathroom. I'm looking everywhere, and it starts to really get kind of bad, like real bad, in terms of, like I feel like I'm growing a tail kind of bad, And so I sit there and I'm panicking, and it's getting to the point where I'm looking for alleyways to just like drop trowel and let this thing fly. And as I go into alleyways and stuff like that, I'm seeing like buildings and windows, and I'm just like, I'm gonna get arrested, trying to do some junk like this. And so as I'm walking there, I remember there's a pub across the street from her apartment. I'm like, oh, obviously they gotta have a bathroom, right? And so I'm walking, just trying to power walk and like clench up, you know what I mean? And so I'm walking, and I see there's a little public park right here. And I'm using logic here, think that public parks have bathrooms because of the fact that little kids can't just pee and shit wherever they want to. And so I'm like, all right, cool, this will be perfect. So I go into the park and I look in the big area, like the big building in the middle. Nothing. And it's at that point where essentially my body's like, I can't do it. I can't hold her anymore. And I just let her go in my pants. I'm sitting there just like, oh no, just as this whole load of shame just accumulates in the back of my pants. And I'm sat there just like I'm relieved, at the same time I'm just mortified by what's happening at the time. And so I just kind of like start wandering aimlessly, just like panicking, like, oh god, what do I do? And as I'm walking, I realize I can make it back into her actual apartment building, because the door at the time, the front door, was actually messed up. As I'm walking, I'm noticing my breath coming out of my mouth because it's cold. And then my first thought, which was fucked up, was just, oh god, I hope there's no steam coming off my ass, because this enormous warm load of poop that's just sitting there back here. And so I sat there, and I get into her building, and I obviously didn't have the keys, but there's this little concrete area in the actual middle of the building where they throw all their garbage. So I'm like, yep. So I go in there, and I take my pants off, and I take my underwear off, which is just horrible. It's like a battle scene. It was awful. So I chuck them back into the back, like way into the back of the area where she keeps her garbage. And I take my socks off and, try to start cleaning up my mess. And it just makes it even worse. It's just like shit, like all over my hands and stuff like that. And I'm just like, oh god, it's like all over my pants. It was awful. And so I go upstairs, like her 4th floor apartment, which is like a 4th floor walk up, which is no good if you have warm poop on your pants and your legs. And so I walk up there, and I stand outside of her front door, I connect to her Wi-Fi, and, you know, I sat there and I call her. I was like, hey, honey, there's been an incident. I need you to get back to your apartment. And she says, what's going on? And so I tell her, I was like, honey, I have shit my pants, and I need you to get here. She just pauses. She sits there, she just goes, what the hell am I supposed to do? Get here to unlock the door. Let me in the apartment. You know what I mean? And she said, all right. I'll get there as soon as I can. Which, again, as a reminder, is an 1.5-hour journey on public transport. And so my first thought immediately after that was, might as well call my mom. You know, so shout out, Mom. And I sat there and I called my mother, who, you know, what the hell is she gonna do at the time? Because she's like 3,500 miles away. So I call her anyway. I'm just like, Mom, I don't know what to do. I shit my pants. And she's like, well, can you get in the building? No, well, Mom, I'm in the building. I can't get into her apartment. And she says, well, can you try to jimmy the lock? I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, it's like, fuck it. So I take out a credit card out of my wallet, just try to like jimmy the door lock. Nothing. She says, well, honey, I don't know what to do. I feel really useless. Like, well, Mom, appreciate it. Thanks for the morale boost. I'm just gonna stand here. So I stood there in the stairwell of her apartment building, just panicking. Anytime I heard a noise, I thought someone was gonna come upstairs and, you know, walk past my shit encrusted pants. And I'm just standing there, just mortified, just on my phone, just like sitting there trying to distract myself on YouTube and Netflix and stuff. And finally, she comes walking up, and I like back away, and I stand like minimum 6 feet away from her at all times. I won't speak to her, nothing, right? So we get inside, and as soon as I get inside, I just beeline for the bathroom. And I get in the bathroom, take my clothes off, throw them in the tub, because that's where my brain logically wanted to put them. And her shower was actually separate. So I get in the shower, and I'm sitting there thanking God that she had one of those showers with the detachable little, you know, head and everything. So I'm sitting there in this half-moon area, plexiglass enclosed shower, just like squatted down, like with this hose just blowing up into my ass to get all this shit that had been caked into like my ass and thighs and stuff. And then I didn't think to lock the door, so in she walks as I like looks directly, makes eye contact with me as I'm squatting and washing shit off me. And I'm like, what are you doing? Get out of here! Like, what the hell? And she said, I'm gonna grab your clothes and throw them in the wash so that way I can get them off. Like, no, just no, get out. Let me take care of it. You know, this is really embarrassing. Just leave. And so she grabs my clothes anyway. She leaves. And so I get done with my shower, and I put on some like pajama pants and a t-shirt and stuff, and I'm just sat there still so upset about the whole thing. And the worst part about it was, like, again, it was New Year's Eve, so we didn't even get to go out and do anything that night because of the fact that I was just mortified with myself. And then on top of that was the fact that, like, that was actually the day that I was going to go out and do like really touristy stuff, like go out to like the city center and take photos. There's a TARDIS out there, you know, in Buchanan Street in Scotland, in Glasgow, and, you know, I was gonna do like, you know, take pictures with it and stuff like that because I really love Doctor Who and stuff like that. And so I sat there, and I didn't even want to do that because of the fact that I just like apparently shit myself. And so I sat there, and, you know, my girlfriend's like, well, honey, I gotta go back to work. You know, are you gonna be okay here? I'm like, well, I guess so. I mean, I'm not gonna eat anything or anything like that for the rest of the night because I don't want to, like, you know, put any more pressure on the booty. And so instead of actually going out and doing anything for the rest of that day, I actually sat there and played The Sims on her roommate's computer for the next like 4 or 5 hours, and just sat there just so sad about myself. And it was, I mean, that night when she got home, it was still really funny. It's funny now, you know. It was like the most embarrassing moment in my whole life. It was awful. And yeah, I felt like sharing that with everybody because I figured you guys would get a good laugh out of that. But again, thanks for watching, guys. Again, I'm probably going to try to make this a like weekly thing. Not 100% sure. Depends on the feedback I kind of get. And I'm still trying to get my channel off the ground, so if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that little like button down below, hitting the subscribe button as well, comment, give me some feedback, let me know how I'm doing. Let me know things that you guys would like to see. I'm also trying to get a capture card, you know, set up and everything like that, so I can start recording some gaming videos as well if you guys are into that too. But like I said, just give me some comments, give me some feedback. Anything would be super helpful. Share it around, let my channel grow. I would greatly appreciate it. And once again, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it.